Ballon d'Or winner Ousmane Dembele was asked whether he's left-footed or right-footed, but bro himself had no idea. These players are known as ambidextrous. They're just as good with their right foot as they are with their left foot, but they're extremely rare. Less than 1% of footballers can be classified to be two-footed, but today I want to see if I can build a full team of two-footed players, basically players with a 5-star weak foot, and we'll be seeing if the team can be good enough to win the Champions League. Now, the first player that gets into this team has got to be Ousmane Dembele. I mean, that interview he gave where he's got no idea what is his preferred foot. He sometimes takes penalties with his left foot, sometimes with his right, and that just makes him such a dangerous player. Probably one of the reasons why he had that season with PSG. Defenders just don't know which side he's gonna go. Now, the fact that the first player we've put in this ambidextrous team is a Ballon d'Or winner, it is signs that this team is gonna get a bit crazy. But we're now gonna pick our left back, which is gonna be an interesting position to find an ambidextrous player. Because normally left backs tend to be just super left-footed. It just suits them when they bomb forward, they can play the crosses. But if you are a two-footed player there, it's a massive advantage. You can play like an inverted wing back as well. Now, I had no idea that Ferland Mendy was so good with his right foot. He's got a 5-star weak foot. So does Riccardo Calafiori and even Andrea Cambiaso. Now, we need to pick 2 players for our squad, and I think one of them has got to be Ferland Mendy. A very underrated left back, I must say. He's won multiple Champions Leagues for Real Madrid, and hey, that's kind of what we're trying to achieve with our 5-star weak foot team. Let's add him in. Now, I'm going to annoy Arsenal fans because I'm going to be picking Andrea Cambiaso for our bench. I just feel like he's more two-footed because he can play right back as well. And we might need that. Now, I'm really glad we picked Cambiaso because we might need to use his two-footed ability and literally play him in the right back spot. Because I could literally only find a couple of other players who've got that 5-star weak foot. Anthony Sarsi, who plays for Mainz, 78 rated right back. And of course, a Premier League player in Aaron Hickey, who plays for Brentford. But come on, man. We're trying to win the Champions League here. Not gonna happen with the 74 rated player. Now, I'm picking this Anthony Sarsi guy, but he's gonna be on the bench. But man, we've gone from picking Ballon d'Or winner Ousmane Dembele to just picking average footballers, man. That's gotta change. Maybe it's because it was the fullback positions and it's super rare to find ambidextrous players there. And yup, in the centre-back positions, there's definitely more talent, like Josko Guardiola. He's probably the Ousmane Dembele of centre-backs, because even Pep Guardiola has praised his two-footedness. In fact, even statistically, he's one of the most two-footed centre-backs in Europe, because he attempts a far higher percentage of passes with his right foot than his left, and that's why he can even play as a right centre-back, in that inverted wing-back role that Pep's got him playing, and he even scores with both feet. In fact, when Guardiola was in Dinamo Zagreb's youth academy, the coaches there said that he just didn't have a weak foot. And that is exactly the kind of player that gets an entry into our team. Now, for a centre-back partner, there's actually so much talent that we're going to have to miss out on players like Thilo Kehrer or even Jared Brandtwaite. Both of them have a 5-star weak foot. But look at the options we've got here. Mark Guehi as well as Dean Howson. In fact, apparently he's so two-footed that he can play long diagonal balls with either feet. That is honestly mental for a centre-back. And you know what? Since he's one of the world's most promising defenders playing for the biggest club in the world, we gotta sign him to be a starter. Now, it's a good thing we get to add Mark Guehi on the bench, because, man, we need all the quality we can get. After picking the fullbacks, I really thought we were building a Conference League team, but now it's starting to look like a Champions League team, and I think it's going to only get better with the midfield. But before we get into picking our midfielders, if you guys could drop a like, subscribe to the channel, that would be amazing. Now, the next player we're picking is 40 years old, and no, it's not Cristiano Ronaldo, it's Santi Cazorla. When you think of an ambidextrous player, a two-footed mastermind, Santi Cazorla has to pop up. I mean, he's the kind of player who can literally take a free kick with either foot, and that's what he did at Arsenal, in La Liga, and now at 40, he's just playing for his boyhood club just to support them. Not gonna lie, Cazorla is nowhere near good enough to get into the starting 11 with that overall, but come on, man, in a two-footed team, he had to get a spot, so at least we're gonna keep him on the bench. But man, in midfield, we're starting to now choose some serious ballers, like Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Bro literally has the craziest long shots with both feet. He can take set pieces as well with his left or right foot. And apparently that's because when Çalhanoğlu was a youth player, he obsessively focused on training both his feet with the same technique. And look at the results. He can literally play anywhere in midfield, pick out passes with either foot. And now with Çalhanoğlu coming in, I'm starting to believe 2-Foot FC might be cooking. And yo, the talent we've got in the midfield just does not stop. There's Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, as well as Hendrik Mkhitaryan. And you know what? I would say of the last generation, Mkhitaryan was one of the best two-footed players. He always had the ability to take his first touch with either feet, and that was so dangerous. And even at 36, he's balling out with Inter. But you know what's crazy? Both Savic and Mkhitaryan are only going to make the bench in our team. Because we've got Kevin De Bruyne, one of of the greatest midfielders of all time. And no surprises, he was the ultimate two-footed player. He could literally play his crazy crosses with either foot. And oh man, his long shots, left foot, right foot, didn't matter. They would just end up in the back of the net. And most definitely, we've got KDB being a starter for the Ambidextrous FC. Okay, with our centre-backs and midfielders, the team has definitely made a comeback. Like, we are getting into Champions League winning territory. But now to complete our midfield, we need to find a cam with a 5-star weak foot. And unfortunately, the only player I could find was Kenan Yildiz. He's only 80 rated. I'm thinking if we change formation to a 4-4-2, putting Dembele as a striker, I think that way we can probably fit in more 5-star weak foot players. And just look at the amount of options we've got for the right midfield position. There's Christian Pulisic. I had no idea he had a 5-star weak foot. There's Ivan Perisic as well. Being two-footed was one thing he was known about. Surprised to see Anthony Elanga here. Now, don't cancel me for this, boys, but Mason Greenwood has got to be included in this list. I think among all these players, he's the most two-footed. Kind of like Dembele, he is super ambidextrous, can shoot off either foot, and sometimes I don't even know which foot is his primary one. And because of that, I feel like Mason has got to get into this team. Now we need one more player among these three, and I guess Pulisic makes the most sense because of the rating. But to be fair, if we're going with pure ability on both feet, it's got to be between Perisic or Elanga. I've often watched Elanga for Man United, for Newcastle. He uses both feet a lot. That's why he can play on the right, on the left. But Perisic, man, that was literally what he was known about. I think for the bench, we got to go with him. And now that we've sorted the right side of our attack, time to move on to the left. And this is where this team starts getting absolutely crazy because we got Nico Williams, one of the most promising wingers in football. And this is one of his main qualities, being able to shoot with both his left and right foot with the same efficiency. After that, he's one of the fastest players in football. The dude is an absolute weapon. But you won't believe it, boys. Nico Williams is only going to make the bench. And that's because we've got another PSG man, Kvicha Kvaratskhelia. From back in his Napoli days, we all knew he was good with both feet. That's why he could play as a left winger or as a right winger. And he's using this ability now at PSG to an extremely high level. Because that's how their attack operates, with Kvicha, Dembele, Doué all switching sides. And the fact that both Kvicha and Dembele can use either feet, it just makes PSG unstoppable. But yeah, for sure, Kvicha is going to be a starter in this team. Now we've only got the striker spot left, and I was 100% sure this was going to be Cristiano Ronaldo, but I genuinely don't get this. EA have given Ronaldo a 4-star weak foot? That makes no sense. He's legit got more goals with his left foot than most footballers, and this is literally one of his best qualities, being super efficient with even his left foot. I think EA have had a nightmare, bro. How have they given Ronaldo a 4-star weak foot? I guess if we can't go with Ronaldo, we must go with Sonaldo. He's of course been one of the most two-footed players in Premier League history. Did it for Spurs for so many years. Now he's chilling in LA. But we're gonna bring him into our two-footed team to try and win the Champions League. I was definitely scouting to see if we could maybe find a striker better than Son. But players like Harry Kane, Lautaro Martinez, Julian Alvarez, Lewandowski, they're all good with their weak foot, but they're not perfect with it. They've all got a 4-star weak foot. Jonathan David was the only other striker I found decent enough to get into the team, so we're gonna put him on the bench. With that, I thought our weak foot FC was complete, but I completely forgot we hadn't picked a goalkeeper. And this was where this team was gonna fall apart. There are only 2 decent goalkeepers in game that have got a 5-star weak foot. First up is this Michael Zetterer guy who plays for Frankfurt, but he's only 76 rated. And then we've got Dejan Ramaj who's playing for Dortmund. I guess we don't have a choice. We gotta sign them up both. I guess it makes sense why we couldn't find a good goalkeeper with a 5-star weak foot. Because for most players, if they do have the talent to play with their both feet, they probably wouldn't be in goal.
I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait, first of all,
But yeah, this has kind of ruined the team because so far we're starting to look like, yup, we've got a Champions League winning side, especially the midfield and the attack. But now with 75 rated Ramaj in there, it's basically going to be impossible. But let's add a bit of spice. For every win this week for FC can secure in the Champions League, we'll give a +1 upgrade to the goalkeeper. I think that's the only way they'll be able to compete. And oh man, this ain't looking good for our Ambidextrous team. 21st in the Champions League. At least our team has made it to the playoffs. And also the 3 wins that we got, that's going to be big for upgrading our goalkeeper. Actually, our goalkeeper went up in his overall on his own. Ramaj up to a 79. I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't win more games because this team is looking absolutely insane. And there you go. We've given Ramaj a bit of an upgrade up to an 82, but now no more upgrades. The weak foot boys in the knockouts are going to be all on their own. Now we've made it to the end of the season and the stats are very interesting. Jonathan David and Mason Greenwood were the 2 ballers. Nico Williams and Dembele did well, but I think we'd see more from Heung-min Son. Guardiola coming in with 5 goals as well. KDB kind of mid. But yeah, this team was severely limited by the goalkeeper. But you know what? Playoffs, they managed to knock out Leverkusen. Round of 16, they got through Juventus. Oh, but come on. After all the hard work against those big teams to get knocked out by Galatasaray. And looks like the Champions League quarterfinals was the limit of our ambidextrous team. Let me know in the comments whether you guys are right-footed or left-footed. Or maybe even two-footed. I'd be curious to see. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, why not watch me build a team with one hidden talent from every nation? Click here.